Hey there, welcome back to the Mothcast, a podcast about video games and how a couple of moths feel about them. The game for episode 22 is called Guacamelee 2, another 2D platform metroidvania game set in Mexico. Grab last week's episode and let's get into the podcast. All right, so Guacamelee 2. I don't think it has
Yay,
any extra
one.
super turbo ultra mega
No, it
championship
doesn't.
edition like the first one did.
But
Um
it'd be funny if it did.
well, it's it's a newer game. Significantly newer. I'm pretty sure it came out only a few years ago. I suppose I should have looked that up.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
Anyway, Guacamelee 2 is obviously the sequel to Guacamelee 1, which we played last week. It's
Yes.
basically an extension. Like you could
It's
take this
like
game and
direct.
mistake it for a DLC, and it would acceptable. You know?
It's like a direct extension to the first game.
Yeah.
Like as far as sequels go, it's literally like you can finish playing the first game and immediately play the second one without stopping.
Yeah, and there's not even really a meaningful leap in time, quote unquote leap in time, um, from the first game to the second game.
Yeah.
Or well, between them, I suppose I should say. But yeah, I mean, it's like it honestly, in terms of like art, uh, it's it looks copy and pasted. Like it looks like
Yeah. I
a
mean,
lot of
I would
times it looks like
assume.
they took the assets from the first game and just applied them.
Yeah, I would assume they like finished the first game and then like immediately started working on the second one.
Yeah, I mean, Guacamelee 2 came out on January 18th, 2019, so it was worked on in 2018. Whereas I guess there's a Guacamelee 3 in the works.
Oh, there is? Wow.
The original Guacamelee came out in 2013, so I guess there is a significant time
I guess there was
difference.
a time.
But the thing
Okay.
that I'm looking for is what, because we didn't play the original, right?
No.
We played the
The Super
Super
Turbo Ultra Mega
Championship Edition.
Championship Edition.
Let's see. When did that come out? It doesn't say. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it was just a year after. So 2014. Yeah, I mean, it's significant time like between the two games, like 3 years basically between the two games, like development. And so a lot of the initial like all the NPCs, I guess quite a few of the enemies are pretty much copy and pasted. So I'm not really surprised that you know it's a
Not
complete.
really copy and pasted, but like there are actually a lot more kinds of enemies in this
Well,
one.
yeah. I mean, there are definitely
But
newer
definitely
enemies and different enemies and
even the
more
basic skeletons were not
slightly
what they
different.
look. Yeah, they look way different.
I guess they looked a little different. Not that different though.
Not too different, but they did look different. But I mean, I
Let's
guess there's a
take a look.
there
Um,
is an in-game explanation for that. I guess I would suppose you could say um connected to the story.
yeah. I mean, I guess. Uh, you might have noticed more than I did with the music how like it was different. I don't think there was really like they kind of give the music gives a pretty similar vibe uh
Yeah, it's a
from
similar
game
vibe,
1
but
to game 2, you know?
the song. I'm pretty sure the music was just the tracks were just different
Well,
because
yeah.
you go to different areas and
I think I think they did definitely do like different music in this game. But like it's not it's not so it's not like it's a completely different vibe of music type. Like they didn't shift the music style. It was still like the Mexican like traditional
yeah.
Mexican music with their horns and their guitars and their
Mhm.
tubas and you know the
etc.
what is it called? What is it called? The thing that Weird Al uses, his
Accordion?
instrument. Huh?
What is Weird Al you? I don't know.
You know what? Oh, God damn it.
Is it
Weird Al instrument.
is it like a kazoo or something?
No,
I
the
don't know.
accordion.
That's what I said.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, the accordion.
Accordion.
Yeah. So like, you know, that sort of sound that the like I was trying to figure out what that's called, but it feels like it's like a quartet or a quintet, but it's like the Mexican quartet
I
or
mean,
quintet.
probably.
There's
I would
there's
assume it'd be
definitely
like
a name for that like style of like band. I just don't know what it's
like
called. If
mariachi or something.
Yeah, mariachi, that's probably it. Um and then that combined with like old school like I don't know, like 16-bit sort of
Yeah.
video game music. I mean, I don't even know how else to describe it other than that. It's pretty much it's the same vibe as the first game, just like
Mhm.
different tracks.
Yep. That's correct.
Like you could download uh the soundtrack for game 1 and game 2 and then play them on
Just
shuffle and you wouldn't know which one was
yeah,
from which
exactly.
game.
You wouldn't know which one's from which.
That being said, they were all quite good.
Yeah, correct.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not really a whole lot to talk about in terms of the music and the art, and we both knew that. I think that
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I think that the bosses in this game were really charming as in terms of art style.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest,
agreed.
uh like I think the first boss that you fight, I don't remember what his name is, but I looked up the translation and it's like the doll.
Mineko? Mineko?
Yeah. I really, really loved him.
He
And
was
his like
great.
with his chickens that he was talking to all the time, like, oh,
He was probably the best character, I'm gonna be honest.
uh El Muñeco, and then
El Mineko, that weird,
eventually
like,
your
alien.
hated boss Cactuardo. Like there's all have amazing art styles and just like vibes. But
Literally the worst boss.
yeah, they're like I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say. If you wanna hear what we say about the art style and the vibe and all that stuff for these two games, you can
Watch
sum
the
it
first
up
episode.
by listening to the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's you know
It's the
suffice to
same.
say, not a few, not very many notes. It's all good things.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll talk about the story for this game,
Yeah.
which actually occurred.
There actually was one, yeah.
Yeah, there was actually a story in this game compared to the last game where we didn't talk about almost any story because
Which
there wasn't really much of one.
if anything, the second game builds off of the first story. Well, story.
I mean,
It
builds.
sort of does.
You mean like
because,
builds it out more?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Like it like because it takes place like directly after the first game. Pretty
Well,
much.
no, I
Like
mean not directly after. It's definitely a few years. The main character
I mean, it
has
is.
kids.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, you turn on game Guacamelee 2 and it starts you at the boss of the previous game.
Oh yeah, that is
Like
true.
literally.
You do
And then you
technically redo that fight.
You redo that
Like,
fight.
quote unquote redo that fight.
Yeah, you do. You get an achievement that says, "I remember this being easier."
Yeah, or harder.
or
yeah.
harder. Yeah, I remember this being harder because you like hit him once and he dies. Or
Yeah,
something.
pretty much.
But yeah, so then that happens, and then I guess it technically does the true ending where it's like you save her and she doesn't die.
Oh yeah.
So
The ending that both of us neither of us were really
neglected to get. But
we
I mean,
weren't
whatever.
really keen on getting that one because it's Maybe
Yeah,
one day. I don't know.
we ran out of time. But yeah, it's like whatever. We kind of figured that was going to be the ending. Is like the true ending was you get all the orbs. All the orbs don't kill her. She comes back to life. Whatever.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the previous episode.
Yeah, I mean,
For the
like
game,
if you're
but, yeah,
into the
whatever.
second game, we're just assuming that you probably beat the first game.
Yeah.
But if not, here's your catch up.
If not, why are you watching this video?
I mean, you can watch this video. Don't click off. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, it's you know, like suffice to say, the first game was a lot more gameplay than it was story. The only thing you need to know about the story in the first game was what we saw in this game. So, yeah.
But yeah, she's alive. You go home. You leave the mask behind. You
You get married. You have two kids.
You have kids. You get old and fat.
Yeah, actually, like big old beer gut.
You get,
which is hilarious.
It makes sense. You're a tequila crafter. So
okay, but like you're not supposed to, you know.
You're not supposed to.
I think the idea is like you're getting old and out of shape. You know, he's like, I used to be in shape when I was a young strapping lad.
When I saved the world and was a luchador, I was etc.
Yeah, and so like,
but yeah,
whenever you go through the motions of like, oh, you need to go to town and talk to the monk, which is exactly what you needed to do in the first game, and so you go do that, and then all of a sudden, like the time-space barrier tears apart and it starts killing people. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Oh, the multiverse is failing.
No, not the multiverse.
Oh, sorry. The Mexiverse is failing. Oh my god.
Get that right.
Actually,
you gotta get that right.
I actually laughed out loud in reading that because they corrected themselves just like I did. I laughed so hard.
The Mexiverse.
And then
it is actually good. It's so good.
The goat guy comes up and he's like, hey, yeah, so you're the only one left. So
you're the only one left in the whole Mexiverse.
We need you to come and deal with this problem that we have. And you're like, okay.
You go to what's called the darkest timeline.
Yeah.
But,
which is
the reason you're the only Juan left is because I think was it that all the others failed to defeat Calaca, or because they did defeat Calaca and then lost to Salvador?
I think that's what it is, or like both. I don't like.
I think it might be the first one because, that's the reason why Salvador is like this, because he's like, oh, he's the one who managed to defeat Calaca, blah blah blah.
Or like you were the last one that was like actually a luchador, or something like that. I don't like the beginning is very fuzzy for me because I was just like, all right, let's go punch some people.
I'm pretty sure it was you're the last Juan because you were the one in the good timeline who actually managed to defeat Calaca.
Yeah.
But the other ones all died to Calaca.
Either way.
And then Salvador defeated Calaca.
Yeah. I mean, either way, you're thrust into like...
Yeah.
You have to go and save the Mexiverse, and they like teleport you through time. And essentially you like run to the place where all the different goat guys are congregating. Yeah. And in the darkest timeline, which is a reference to Community, much like everything else in this game is a reference to something. And so you know you're going through and you meet all these guys and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Juan, you're alive. Oh my, and Tostada's like, oh my god, Juan, you're alive. And you're like, yep, I'm back. Because, you know, in the darkest timeline, you've already been murdered.
All of them, you die. Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure it's like all the time.
They're like, aha, all right, it's perfect. And so, like, in this game, you have like no power to start with at all. You would think they're like, all right, here's your mask back. Good luck.
Well, it's because you got like, I guess a backup mask or like a mask from a different timeline. So it's like it has no abilities.
Yeah. Because you gave yours up to save your love or whatever it was. Anyway.
You go home and have kids, whatever.
You're tasked
Um,
to go and get these 3 like tortilla chips.
yeah,
To
definitely not,
open.
definitely not a Triforce.
Yeah, no, don't just ignore that. They're definitely not shaped in triangles because I mean, come on, like all tortilla chips are shaped in the shape of a
Oh yeah,
triangle. It's fine.
yeah.
Don't
If they're
look at
cricket
that.
chips,
Ignore that.
you don't put them together like a Triforce.
No, surely not. And then you like use the middle piece to like open a portal to somewhere more powerful. It's fine.
Yeah, just
Relax.
don't look at that.
And so that's what your goal is. And then
Well, yeah, because that's what Salvador wants. We should probably explain. He's the main antagonist of
yeah,
this.
oh yeah, we should probably explain Salvador. Salvador is a luchador in multiple timelines. I guess he was the one who defeated Kalaka and like took all
Yeah.
of his power.
Yeah,
And then he took like the like evil mask and became all powerful, and it corrupted him because his spirit was weak.
yeah.
We actually don't you don't actually find that out until much later. You just kind of are like, oh, he wants the 3
Sacred relics
relics, which are tortilla chips, the 3
go get
relics to go and eat the guacamole that'll
the
heal him.
special guacamole,
Guacamole.
guacamole to not die of
Yeah,
death,
he's
die of death.
sick.
Yeah, I think the mask made him sick or something. I don't
I don't
remember.
know
But
if that's
he's definitely
true. I
sick.
think maybe like he was wearing the evil mask, and because he wasn't strong enough, it was deteriorating his body or something like that. I'm gonna be
Something
honest. There are a
like
lot
that.
of things in this that I either didn't pay attention to or were just like slightly fuzzy. Like they didn't like
Yeah,
completely explain them. I don't know, but I don't think it really matters, and
I
I
don't
don't
think it
think they
matters.
really cared that much either. They were just
I'm
like, he's sick, and this is what he's going to do to
he's
cure
dying of
himself.
something,
Like,
and he needs the sacred guacamole that the gods made because he really liked guacamole.
yeah, that was literally
And
that was literally it.
that was literally the whole explanation. The guy,
Yeah.
the god was like, "I'm gonna make guacamole out of these sacred ingredients,"
Well,
and
these
then
these
or out of like
no,
my
it wasn't even
recipe.
that complete. It wasn't even that complicated. Yeah, it was.
It was
This
just
is
he makes
my
guacamole, my recipe of guacamole, and
yeah.
then he's like, "Oh no, I ran out of guacamole." And he was sick of just making more, so he makes a sacred infinite guacamole.
Infinite
out of sacred
guacamole. Yeah, that's
ingredients.
right. But the
And
thing
like
is he's like, oh, but I'm gonna lock it in a place where nobody can get to, and so I'm gonna
because
make these
he
tortilla
didn't
chips
want
that I have
people
in my hand into sacred relics and hide them.
because he didn't want people to take his recipe.
That's right.
That's
Like, what do
literally
you mean, dude?
it's literally the best explanation for it. It's so good.
It's so good and so stupid, and I love it.
Me
It's
too.
so funny. Like, this whole game, like, vibes are immaculate.
Yeah, agreed.
There are even more memes. Did you find the
meme cave?
the
Yes, I
meme
did.
cave? Oh my god! I've been like bursting to talk about that stupid meme cave. It's literally
Stupid meme cave.
it's
Oh my
literally
God.
like you go into
It's
the
like
meme cave. It's like the dankest timeline, and you
Dankest
go in
timeline.
there. And you're like, what is this? Is this some kind of weird side quest that you do? And it's like, don't go into the dankest timeline. And you're like,
Turn back.
I'm gonna. And so you go in there and like you drop down in a hole and they're like, oh my God, sorry, it's so dank in here. Look at all this water, splish splash. And you're like, yeah, I guess it is pretty dank. And then like,
yeah, that's pretty moist and dank.
and as you progress, like the NPCs pop up
you
with
get
like plausible online like Reddit usernames
yeah,
being like, ugh, this game would be so good if it didn't have so many crappy memes in it. And then
crappy memes and
I'm like,
references,
wait, are these people's actual complaints?
they probably are,
Like,
honestly.
did the developers
they
put
probably complaints of the first game.
yeah, that's what I mean. Did the developers put a whole section in the game devoted to the haters of the
Yeah.
first game being like, oh, can we have a mod that just gets rid of all of these outdated memes? They're so cringe.
And speaking of outdated
Like,
memes,
oh
literally posters plastered everywhere in the Dankest timeline
yeah,
were like
of
2000s memes.
yeah, like the oldest memes before memes were a thing. Like, oh
Yeah.
my god,
It was
so funny.
so good.
Like I laughed so hard, and then they give you like like what was it, like a
I
third of
think
a
it was
heart on the way out and
something
some
or
money,
just
and you're like, all right,
or
you
something. It's like, all right, thanks, bye.
yeah, like good job, you survived the dankest
It's like, oh,
timeline.
you made it through all of them, all the Dankest memes.
It's like
They're
oh
so
man,
cringe and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh, you made it all the way through, and it's just like, yeah, all right, bye.
man, what a
It's
lovely
so good.
like everything. I
And
don't
then of
even
course, this game continued to have all memes and references. Like,
yeah
I saw a poster that was like Shovel Knight versus Hollow the
yep
Knight Hollow
yeah
Knight.
as like luchador versions of them, but they were
Luchador version.
obviously
I mean, there's gonna be luchador versions of all these references, but
yeah
yeah,
um
so good.
uh like I don't know. This game is it's for the lovers of memes, it's for the lovers of internet culture. And like
Yeah,
I mean that in the actual way that it should be used, where it's like memes that are good, memes that are bad, memes that are cringe, memes that are like just like really shit and really good. All of
mhm,
these are internet culture.
yep,
Whether you like it or not, like if you're a person who's online for any amount of time every day, you're going to run into these memes
yeah. Whether you want to or
whether
not,
you
it's
want
just
to or
gonna
not.
show up.
And like this is like a kind of weird like love/hate letter to to all of those things. Like
Yeah,
so yeah, I don't know. It's definitely
so this game is like as good as, if not better, than the first one.
yeah. In terms of story, I would say it's significantly better.
Yeah, agreed.
Because it is like, okay, there's an actual villain that's trying to actually destroy like not only your timeline but like everyone's timeline basically.
Yeah. I
Um
mean, Cracker was trying to destroy the world, kind
well,
of.
he was trying
He
to
wanted
like
to merge.
combine the world of the dead with the world of the living, but like you didn't really see any of that until like
Till
the
the
very end of the
end.
game.
Till
Whereas
literally that boss fight.
yeah, whereas this is like they're talking about it, every boss is talking about it. You like come face to face with Salvador multiple
Um,
times and he's like, "Who are you?" um
he's like, oh, you're the inferior luchador.
yeah,
No technique. What a garbage luchador.
and
Like, you.
then
It's like, well, what the fuck? I don't
like
even know you, man.
all of his little like underlings are like definitely in on it. Like in the first game, I think he had like Xtabeg was kind of in on it, but then like she kind of was
The
like
thing was
screw
like,
that guy halfway through, and then the trio was like we're just making skeletons. We just like making skeletons, you know?
well, he had a deal with Kalaka, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's like yeah, but he wasn't like in on it. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't his final
He was
goal was
he
not
was contracted. He was hired.
right. It's not
Basically, he's like, Kaleka was basically like, you make me a bunch of skeletons, I'll bring your fourth guy back to life. And he's
right.
like, all right.
They're like, all right, cool, sure. And
And then he
then
couldn't, whatever.
who was the other guy? Was that it? No, Flameface. Flameface wasn't
Flame Face.
really a character either. Like he wasn't like, yes, let's destroy everything. He just wanted to drink alcohol and shoot guns. Like
Drink alcohol, yeah.
he just wanted
Yeah.
to like get drunk and shoot a gun, and then he got his ass beat, and then that was it.
He's
Like,
all right.
all right, see you later.
Yeah, but he
So
was in the second game. He
yeah,
was
he
your
was.
he was your combo guy, and you're like, instead of combo chicken from the first game, you get
Yep.
Flame Face.
I'm pretty sure Combo Chicken was around. He just did other things.
Was he?
He like upgraded to the like golden chicken.
Oh, was that
with-
guy?
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But and then but yeah, no, the villains and their henchmen in this case were significantly more like There were
running.
significantly bigger players in the actual story as opposed to just like one guy, one big bad, like doing all the work inevitably.
Yeah.
Um,
Because there was UA. Oh, what was their name?
Peck,
Yeah, UA Peck. That
because
was
UA
like
Chivo
elephant
is the goat guy.
old guy. Yeah.
I don't know if that's even how you
UA Peck
pronounce
was like
his
a
name.
dog.
Was it a
lady
dog? I don't
person? I don't
know.
know.
I thought it was like a skeleton bird. Maybe
Bird,
I don't.
dog. I don't know.
Anyway,
But
it's
yeah,
she is a skeleton.
she's like a sorceress too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was El Muñeco, who was like a
He's
performer.
a
He
performer.
just honestly though he just wanted to be friends with Salvador.
Kinda.
That's all he wanted.
Honestly, he just really wanted he wanted to be friends with somebody. He wanted somebody to be friends with, and like Salvador wasn't really doing it for him. So he's like, "Hey, do you want to be friends?" And then you punch him in the face, and he's like, "Oh God, we're not friends. We're not really friends at all."
Yeah.
He was a fun fight though, actually.
Yeah, he was. It was a good fight. UA Peck was a pretty fun fight
I think
too.
he just like summoned things, didn't he?
Yeah, but like the
honestly, that fight was so unmemorable. I don't even like that one.
The arena like changed up a bit too, and you had to.
Oh yeah, I do remember that fight. Crap,
Yeah,
I was gonna actually talk about how dynamic that fight was.
That was a pretty good fight. The Cactuardo one can. I wouldn't be sad if that one was missing.
Yeah, I mean we can go into it. I think the story's just about wrapped up. The only thing else I have to say is that this is the most innocuous form of like quote unquote multiverse like bullshit that I've seen in a long time.
It's honestly the best form of it.
Well, because like we've been ever since I guess I don't know when did we first get the like first Marvel multiverse iteration, and then like ever since then everyone has been on this multiverse binge. It was like 2020 or 2021, something like that, and like ever since then everybody's just been doing multiverses, and they've all been trash.
Multiverse of Madness, right?
Well, I think it's been like sort of set up before then. I'm not really worried about it because like that's when everything started to go downhill. I want to say it was probably what was it? Not Endgame. Is it Endgame? The part Endgame 2 of
the time.
Well, yeah, but that's basically
Loki,
it.
the show Loki.
Well, not Loki. That's it deals with the multiverse, but I'm talking about the movie it was Endgame, and then what was the other one?
Infinity War,
and then Endgame. Endgame is the one where they like start poking at the multiverse, and then it just goes from there. And so like
they just go back in time and stuff. But
from there it starts to like kind of fray at the edges, I think. Anyway, this is not a Marvel podcast. I would not like to talk about Marvel.
No,
I'm just saying like that's where like it came from, but this was made before that.
Yeah,
and so I think people still had a pretty good conception of like
how to do it well,
how to do it not garbage.
Yeah.
Where like you need to explain it enough to like get people to buy into your premise, and then stop explaining and just pretend like the rest of us. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like once you establish rules, don't break those rules.
Yeah.
Which is honestly the most important bit of the whole thing. But yeah, and so like that's what I would say is the biggest compliment to this story, is that it did multiverses, but like not poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there was some things with the chicken Illuminati, but it kind of doesn't really play too much, except for like one small portion, and then you just like it's optional after that.
The
So
chicken Illuminati is like, I mean, that's where you get all your chicken powers.
abilities, yeah.
But
But I
then
mean,
you're like,
it's still.
you're the chosen chicken man, and then you could go. The optional part is you go get all those key pieces and
Yeah. Well, and the key
open
pieces
the
are
important
supposed
door.
to that's
Important
the key
door.
pieces open the door, and then the door grants you the true ending of the game, as the orbs did in the first game. I found one door and I opted not to go in. I was like, maybe I'll spend some time just to see what this is.
Which
But
door did you find?
It was toward the end. I don't remember which
The one
one.
where you needed the egg laying.
I think they all do.
Okay, I don't know, because I found one of them, and he's like, you must demonstrate the power of laying eggs to go in here, and I did, and then I went in, and it was, not fun, because it was like platforming.
Oh, it was just all
like
platforming.
I basically was playing Celeste, but
Oh.
Guacamelee. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I figured it would be something like that. I don't know.
the platforming in this game is pretty good. It's just that it being the platforming, it's not exclusively a platforming game where you're
Right.
doing all that.
The controls in this game aren't as tight as something like Super Meat Boy or Celeste. So like you can do platforming, but it's not
a platformer.
Right, yeah. You're not going to be like, "Oh my gosh, this was so gratifying to do." And you're even somebody who did like the Celeste Seaside, right?
No, I didn't do C-sides. I did B-sides.
Okay, well, you did more Celeste than I did, so.
I wanted to do C-sides, but like you have to like do some weird bullshit to unlock them, and I'm like,
You're like, maybe not that. Yeah, no, I didn't even play B-side though. I just beat the game, and I was like, all right, on to the next one.
Yep.
But yes. So the gameplay, I want to talk about one specific thing before we talk about the other things. The one specific thing that I want to talk about briefly is the pacing of powers in this game compared to the first game.
Okay.
In the first game, you get like the uppercut, and then you get like the slam, and then you get like all these other powers, and you get the punch last, I believe.
The dashing derp last.
Yeah. And like it makes for really strange pacing because you get like 3 powers like right away in the first game. And then you like beat a whole 2 dungeons or like levels or whatever they are. And then you get the what's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then you get the blue power where you can break the blue blocks. And then you get like
a whole bunch of powers all at once.
And then a whole bunch of powers all at once. And it's like really strangely paced in that like you get like a bunch of powers all up front, and then you just like don't get anything for a while. And then you get a bunch of powers again. Whereas in this game, they give you the like dash punch like second.
Yeah. Which is also kind of funny.
Not only do you get the dash punch second, which is like arguably the most powerful, most useful of the skills,
like combat move too.
Yeah,
to be honest. But you, of course, like in the first one, you do get the uppercut first. Actually, I'm pretty sure you get that like as you get your mask again.
Yeah. Well, and you need the uppercut and the dash punch because it gives you like a longer range of jumps. Like there are a lot of places you can't get to without uppercutting to get onto that platform. And then like there are some times where you need to jump super duper far and you don't have a way to do that because you don't have the double jump. Because in the and so you need to use like jump, dash punch, uppercut, or uppercut dash punch, whichever one you want to do. And then you and because you're given this so early, you actually have more like interesting platforming early in the second game. And then they give you the double jump pretty early as well. So like there's a lot more platforming in this game.
I think it's like midway through. Well, there
Yeah,
definitely
but
is more platforming because later in the game they give you like combo or like move refreshes, like little yellow
yeah,
orbs that refresh your dash, punch, or uppercut, or like all of them actually.
yeah, it's all of them every time.
So
And
it's
the
like
thing
you
there
have to
is,
use those to platform.
yeah, um, because you can't use them any. I don't think we ever said this in the other podcast, but whenever you're in the air, you can only use each ability once.
Yeah.
But in this game, they give you the ability to refresh, or not the ability, I guess, but the if you
The
run into
orbs
the orb, so then it turns into like,
chaining.
yeah, like
You
I don't
chain.
know, it becomes really frantic in
Yeah.
my
Oh
experience.
yes. Uh, yeah. In my experience too, it's like you only have like how many fingers do you use on a controller? Like three,
Yeah.
and you have to use all of them all at once, or not three, like three each hand. Sorry.
Well, and the other problem is like uh almost all of your, well, no, all of your abilities are on B. And so like
All of your yeah.
if you're pressing slightly to the left and then you press B when you're trying to uppercut, sometimes you'll just
Dash
dash
punch.
punch instead of uppercut, and then you're like, ow, well, I
Yep.
lost.
Oh, do it
Oops.
again.
And which is like really kind of annoying. But like not not horrible, just kind of annoying.
No, it usually just brings you back to the like start of the jump
Yeah,
or the
that is
area.
one thing is like this game, even the first game,
It was
it's
very
been
timed.
forgiving.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, and then when you get the, which you also get again pretty early, the like switch, the world switching,
Oh
the
yes.
dimension swapping. Then you have to chain that together too. So it's like when you're jumping slash um
Uh
going through like the platforming, you have to switch like in midair or while you're
yeah.
dashing, and it's a lot of stuff to keep track of.
Well, and the other thing that I
And then
was going to say that we missed to talk about as far as powers go, because you get this one actually, I think like third or fourth, um,
yeah.
is the little like, it's a little like bird like grapple point. I don't remember what it's called
Oh yeah,
specifically,
yeah.
but like you use that throughout the whole
Grapple,
game.
the like
Um,
eagle grapple or something.
yeah, and so what it is there's this point where when you get close enough, it'll take you and it'll launch you like a rubber band in the
Mm.
direction it's pointing. And so sometimes, sometimes they're on one side of the
Yeah, you have to like eagle
dimension and the
grapple,
other,
and then
and then you
press,
gotta
and then
back and
eagle
forth.
grapple again, and do that too, and that's on Y. So
Hmm.
it's like you have to you have to be really.
They definitely use the whole controller.
They really did. And then later, when you get the all the chicken powers, you
Mm.
have to, while you're doing all of that with the B and the Y, you need to change to a chicken mid-air and like float to somewhere else, and then change back and then use like the eagle jump, or
I don't
your
know if they
healing
ever
power.
had. I don't know if they ever had like times where you had to change to a chicken midair.
No, not in the normal game, but in that the one platforming section I
Oh,
mentioned.
really? Okay, yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna say I
it
didn't go
was
in there, so if it
it
was
was
in there, then oof,
it was
yeah,
definitely
no
like
kidding.
pushing the limits of the platforming in this game. Which I mean, I guess I kind of enjoyed. It was a little frustrating because like sometimes if you fell like all the way down.
Mm. We're doing
Um,
what is it called? Uh,
but yeah,
getting over it with whatever the frick that guy's name is.
everybody. Oh, jeez.
um,
Um,
what else
yeah,
was I gonna say about this
it was
game?
a lot of. I think the platforming was a little better in this than it was in the first one. A lot more like combinations, and you definitely had to um like chain together different things
Yeah,
more.
not at all like bad.
No, 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 not
I think
bad. It's
definitely
just
good.
it was more interesting. I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that I found to be quite an improvement was the powers that you could use,
Mhm.
or well, I guess like upgrades, so to speak. You meet all these different teachers along the way,
Yeah.
right? And as you are going along with the teachers, they all have like different styles that you're supposed to learn. Like the first one is just like an all arounder. And you're like, okay,
Yeah, he
whatever.
just like it's like the like dead grandma
Yeah.
lady, the
And then
dead grandma
the next one was combos, which was Flame Face.
face. Yep. He
And the
gives like
next
combo.
one was the grappler girl,
Mm-hmm.
who
She
whenever you
luchador lady.
yeah, whenever you actually you actually gained skills by like putting points into her
Well,
stuff.
oh yeah, you had to do that to even gain the like grapple
Yeah, and then the
abilities.
more you use it, then you could upgrade it. And then it was the chicken upgrading, which we'll talk about that in just a second. And then the last one was the like superpower upgrading to where it would increase the damage of like your
Oh,
uppercut or
your
your
special ability.
yeah, your special abilities. It would increase the damage by like 2 stages, which I pretty much spent all my money on immediately.
Yeah. Although what the more like I guess investment would be you you save up your money until you get flame faces like get more money when you combo or something.
Yeah, you do that, and then there's one where like you get more money for defeating
Punching
enemies
things enemies,
in
yeah,
the
and then
first one,
that would like
which I think I
snowball
did.
into
I think I did that first, and then
I did that like halfway through the game and I read it. I'm like, "Ugh, shit, this earlier."
yeah, I think I did that pretty early, and then I did the um the powers
Yeah.
upgrade damage wise, which was really important because there are like the final capstone thing for each of those was like more often than not like makes enemies explode when you do this to
When
them,
you kill them, yeah, or when you
which
when you
uh made certain enemies much easier to deal with.
Yep.
uh there was a specific enemy which was it's normally these like those like little bouncing spinning guys
Oh,
but
yeah, fuck
big
those guys.
and
The big
like
ones that, like, interrupt you every few seconds.
well and they whenever you kill the big one it blows up into like 30 of the little ones, and so you're
Mhm.
like, oh,
And they die
okay.
in, like, 1 or 2 hits,
Yeah,
so
but if you have the explosion thing you just like
they
punch
just
once
all
and
die.
8 of them die, and it's like, oh good, thank goodness, you know.
Yeah.
So that's nice. The but the other thing I wanted to say about that is that these upgrades, one, they were done with money, which is like really good because I don't even remember what you used money on in the last game.
The the same thing, basically.
The same thing. Oh yeah, but you
Yeah,
used
you
it
just had to
at
do
the
at
tables.
the save spots, yeah.
Yeah, but I like I don't think I upgraded anything other than like health and
I
stamina
did a little, I
and
kinda just, like I'm like, "Oh, I've got all this money, what do I do with it?" And I did it and just, like, bought random things.
yeah, but I don't know. I didn't really care too much about it. I just got like the
I
health, the stamina, the intenso bar, which is actually something to note, wasn't
that
in this
was
game.
oh, yeah, yeah, it wasn't. The Intenso, the, like, super ability, the ulti.
Yeah, which is fine because I
I
think I
didn't use it
used it
all
like
that
twice in the
either.
entire game in the first game, so I
Yeah, it's
uh
fine.
cuz I think the problem with it was like one, it was stupid strong, but two, in order to make it balanced, you have to like sort of balance the like certain areas around them using it.
Mhm.
But then if they go to that area without having it, you they just die. So like it was
Yeah,
incredibly difficult to balance around. So I think that's why they removed it for the second game.
yeah, that makes sense.
So
But,
um
the super ability that they did add into this game was, the blue feather,
oh yeah. Well, yeah, but the blue
which
feather
was
was
just that was just fun. That was
the
just
blue
fun.
feather was just silliness, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, but I enjoyed every time. I think there was like 2 or 3
Yeah.
times that you do it,
What he's
and
talking about is the blue feather transforms you into a big chicken that destroys anything
anything you
when you
touch,
touch, like
any
at
enemy,
all.
and
Like you touch it with your body, it dies no matter
yeah,
what. You don't have
it's
to
like
use
an
an ability.
invincibility
You
star
just
from Mario, but
jump
it's
around.
like you're a giant chicken, and it's like it's the chicken Illuminati's
Ultimate
ancient
weapon.
weapon,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, this is fun. I like it. And you have to like jump around, kill all these enemies, and
Yeah.
etc.
So speaking of
Another
the chicken stuff, we actually get chicken abilities in this game.
Yeah, and you can attack as a chicken.
Well, you could attack as a chicken before, it just wasn't
N-
good.
No, you couldn't.
I'm like 100% sure that you could in the first game. It just was like so bad that it wasn't worth doing.
Okay, maybe you could a little.
Because there were like at the when you first get the chicken, like you were required to fight a room of 2 enemies
Yeah, I guess that's true.
and you couldn't even pass. The wall was
And
up.
then, yeah, okay, you're right, you're right.
But
But like,
then like
that's it. You could peck slightly, like a little bit. But
yeah,
most of the time, it was like chicken was only for small, small,
small spaces and running past
pass
enemies
spaces. Yeah,
basically.
that's it. In this game, it's like, you're actually a useful chicken.
Yeah, it's an actual fighting style with actual like abilities that could be
Like,
upgraded. You
I
have
will
like a
say,
dash and a slide.
um, fighting as a chicken made Salvador's battles so easy.
Oh, you actually fought him as a chicken.
Most of the time as a chicken, yeah.
That's
You know why?
hilarious.
You can chain your like chicken dash, the like diagonal ones.
Hmm.
You can just chain him on him,
Yeah, or
and
just like
like
forever.
pretty much
That's
like you
hilarious.
then you hit the ground and you do the chicken like wave dash
That's
basically,
fantastic, actually.
and then you just go back up into the air, and it's
uh,
the only
that's
times I turned into a human in
glorious.
that fight was when he had a non-chicken colored shield that I had
Yeah,
to break.
that makes sense.
So like I was even in the end cutscene, like while he was sitting there dying and talking
As a
as a
chicken,
chicken.
hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, at the end cutscene when you come back out of the portal, you're Juan human.
Yeah, of course.
But like, yeah, I was sitting there as he was like laying there dying, doing his whole exposition at the end. I was a chicken.
Great. Fantastic.
So yeah. So yeah, go ahead, talk about the chicken powers.
Oh, I was just going to say that instead of it just being like a useless part of the game that doesn't matter, like you actually get like ways to use the chicken. You get your dash that eventually you can use twice.
Hmm.
Which is like a diagonal charge that does like an
In
obscene amount of damage by the end of the game.
It does, yeah.
And
It
then
also like in any direction too. In
yeah,
any of the 4 diagonal directions, I
I
should
don't
say.
know about you, but like there were times where it would just go the wrong way.
Yeah, I had that happen a few times, but
It was very
not too
annoying.
often.
It didn't like kill me, but you know,
No, because most of the game up until the end, basically, none of the like failing of the platforming killed you.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of all these abilities also played into all the platforming in the game too. So
And then I
even
think the other
outside
ability
of the chicken like temples, you did have to sometimes do like chicken platforming.
every once in a while, yeah, which is nice. I mean, I like the like sort of dynamism of
Yeah, it
the
broke up the
chicken
monotony of
platforming.
normal platforming, I guess.
Yeah. Um, there were definitely times where I just cheesed the ever living hell out of sections that you were supposed to do with the chicken as the human
That's fine.
because like you could just do that sometimes.
That's
Um,
fine.
but you know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. What were the other powers that you could get? Every once in a while, there was like a squishy wall that you could dash into, and it
Oh
would like
yeah, it
auto
was like
dash
a
you the opposite
pinball.
way, bounce off of it.
It was like a
Um,
pinball wall.
there was a flower that made air when you were a chicken that you could fly up on, and then you could like float by flapping
Yeah,
wings.
like a glide. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little glide. Um, What else was there?
There was the ground dash.
Yeah, the ground dash, which was just a slide.
And also, by the way, these chicken abilities, that diagonal dashes in the air, were color coded like the human ones were.
Oh yeah, so it was
The
like
dash
purple.
diagonals were purple, and the ground dash was like orange.
Yeah, which makes me think, because there was a spot in the end of at the very very end of the final dungeon in Guacamelee 1 that had a purple block. And I was like, I wonder if I'll ever get the purple block breaker.
You're right.
And then
Actually,
I
there
never
was a-
did. And then I beat the game and I was like, all right, on to the second one.
There, you know what? There was a small purple chicken block, literally at the beginning of the game in your house too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in the first game.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my god,
I remember now.
We're gonna
Now that
have
you
to go
mention
back
it-
and look. No. Okay.
Now that you mention it, I do remember seeing that. I'm like, okay, why can't I break this? And then we never get the purple power, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, whatever.
Maybe that's a part of like a few of the orbs that we never touched.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's go back and do that.
But yeah, it was there's a lot more built out in this game. Like if you only have to play one and you have both of them from the Epic Store, I would say that the second one is a much better game, like by far a much better game.
Yeah, it is.
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I gave the last one like a 9.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
gonna
think
give
mine was like-
I'm gonna give the same score, unfortunately. But like this iterates and improves on the formula, and if they come out with a third game, like apparently Google wants to say that they are,
I think I gave the last Guacamelee 1 a 9.5, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm going to give this one the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
And
it was really good. Although I would recommend playing the first one first, but I usually I like playing the first games first. And I like
right.
when,
Well, so
I
like
usually recommend it because it's like it kind of builds the world, I guess.
so the way that I would say the thing that I would say is if you have both games and you only have time for one, which is weird because that's a strange thing to say. If you only have time for one, play this one, right? Play the second game.
Yeah.
However, if you have the ability to play both of them, play the first one first. They're not that different from each other. They're going to build into each other nicely. You're going to have the same like muscle memory from the first game. You're going to be able to pick up through the second game after you've played the first game. But if you play them in reverse order, you're not losing anything.
No,
at
because
all.
they have very similar like gameplay.
Very similar gameplay. The first one is much more rudimentary, but
yeah, a little bit more.
But you're not really losing out on the story too much.
All the abilities are the same, except for maybe the like eagle jump and all the chicken stuff.
Yeah. You're not going to lose anything in terms of like jokes. You're not going to lose anything in terms of story. You're not going to lose anything in terms of memes. You're not going to lose anything if you play the second one and then the first one. It's just going to be more Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Basically. So, like, I would play them in whatever order you want, but play these games. Play them. If you like Metroidvania, play these games. These are well worth the cost. Like, I'm going to go look up how much they cost on Steam right now. Because, like, honestly, if you're going to buy them anywhere, buy them on Steam. Like, why not? Epic Games is good for free games, but there's no reason to, there's no reason to buy things on it. I don't know.
Just the better platform, I guess. I don't know. Weird to say because.
Well, whatever. I mean, it's not even weird to say. Like, Steam is just the better platform.
It is kind of just a better platform, isn't it?
As
much as
Guacamelee Complete. Okay, so Guacamelee, the Super Turbo Championship Edition is $15, and Guac 2 is $19 or $20.
Okay, so pretty good prices for how good they are. It's not like they're like a $30 or $60 games.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, you can actually buy the soundtrack and the game for $20, the first game, and then just under 25 for the second game. So like that's
it's
obviously
like
on the table if you want to do that.
$5.
There are DLCs for both games.
Yeah, I noticed that there was DLC for the second one, which are like outfits. And speaking of, or no, like you could play as different characters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Another thing we should mention in the first game, you could change your outfit, right? And there was you could do like couch co-op, and you could play as different characters. You could play as Tostada. You could play
Right.
like
But
Juan with a different outfit, and
it would
There were
stay
different
between Juan and Tostada,
But
basically.
in Guacamelee 2, you could actually play as like Extabay and Flameface
Yeah.
and all these other characters.
I was so close to doing my whole playthrough as Extabay, but I'm like, no,
I was also so
I have
close
to be
to
Juan for the recording.
Yeah, I was very close to playing Extabay as well, but I stuck with Juan. I didn't even use any of the other like outfits you find either.
I think I
Not in
used
the first game, not in the second game.
I used the demon
like
in this game.
The what?
The like demon suit.
Oh, okay. Well, I never did any of the outfits in either game. I probably missed out on like several abilities or whatever they grant.
No, they
like,
don't. The first game they
They're
give
not needed.
stats. The second game they don't, so it doesn't matter.
In my opinion, they're not needed. Really.
No, they're not. They're not.
This
They're
game
just
is, like-
they're just aesthetics. If you like them,
Yeah.
put them on. If you want to be somebody that isn't Juan, by all means.
Although in the
But-
first game they did do stuff different.
Yeah,
Like,
they gave
did
stats in the
different
first game.
things.
Like that's for
And
sure.
I think
but
one of
in
them
this
was,
game,
like,
not so much.
You had infinite. It was like skeleton Juan or something. And
Oh,
you had
yeah.
infinite stamina, but because
It was like you
were a
couldn't
skeleton,
heal,
you couldn't heal. So it was like, okay, just don't get hit, I guess.
which is
But
like
no, I didn't.
is kind of neat, but like at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
So.
But
yeah.
yeah, in this game, in the second one, you could play as different characters, which I think was neat. There was also the same couch co-op, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
and another-
is there anything else that you would want?
Another thing I want to mention is what's the wife's name? Lupita.
Yeah.
She is like the best wife ever in this game.
I mean, she was pretty fantastic in the first game, but
She was, but,
whatever.
At the end of the game, whenever Yue Peck like sends you back home because
Oh yeah,
the
at the very, very,
end-
very end of the game.
very end, Lupita is like they're literally mathing out how to make a multiversal.
Yeah, that's
portal
right.
for
That's
you.
right. She like comes in clutch.
She's
She's like, "Oh yeah, I figured it out. Like, here you go." It's like, "Oh,
And it's just like a math equation. It's like, okay, and then she makes a portal for you, and bada bing, bada boom.
I guess we should
the game.
mention this is like super spoiler for the very end. I'm gonna say like skip ahead like a 30 seconds or a minute or however long it will be. I don't know. Spoilers now for the very end and the true ending of the game. Now, at the end of the game, once you defeat Salvador and you write the Mexiverse's like problems.
Yeah, all the like black clouds.
Yeah, all the little black clouds that kill on hit. It you can't go back to your original timeline.
Yeah,
But
because
you can only in the one place that you fight Salvador, and the only difference between the ending that you get just by beating the game and beating the true ending is like it doesn't take time. Like you don't come back with like a beard and like, oh, it's been years for you, but it's been seconds for your family. It's like bam, you know where the right door is and you just get there immediately.
It was years for them too, because you see the kids all grown up. Like one of them has like braces and stuff. So it's just been years that you've been
it's just been
missing,
years,
looking
but
for a
you either way you make it back, but one you make it back like immediately. So
But I would assume that the important door has like information on where to go at the end.
yeah,
like
exactly.
that. Like,
He gives you the
like,
knowledge.
In-game knowledge that Juan knows exactly where to go.
Right.
For home.
All right.
With UA.
Spoiler over. Done. I think that's it. I don't think there's much else to talk about this game. We went for an hour, even though we were like, oh, there's not going to be much to say about this game.
Well, I mean, it was just a gush fest again. So
yeah, pretty much. So, good game. 9 out of 10.
9.5.
Play this. Definitely 9.5 out of 10. Like, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
$20 on Steam. It is well worth your money. Go buy it. If you have it for free, go play it right now.
Right now.
Next week's game is
Turn off this video and play it right now.
We're ending. We're just let them go. Anyway, next week's game is called Close to the Sun. It's a alternate history horror game about Nikola Tesla and his inventions, I guess is the easiest way to say that.
Yep,
So that should be neat. All right. If there's anything to say, anything else to say? No?
Nope.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.